Hello everyone, welcome back to Nitved Bioscience. Today we will continue our discussion on gluconeogenesis. In the last class we had discussed that what is gluconeogenesis. Okay, so the meaning of gluconeogenesis is gluco means glucose, neo means new, and genesis means the synthesis. So, what is gluconeogenesis? Gluconeogenesis is the synthesis of glucose from a non-carbohydrate source by our body. Okay, and we had also discussed that why there is a need of gluconeogenesis, because during the prolonged fasting, to maintain the constant blood glucose level, gluconeogenesis is required. Let's see. Our meal mostly it is consist of carbohydrate rich meal. Okay, so from carbohydrate rich meal we'll get glucose. Okay, mostly we'll get glucose from our meal, and the excess of glucose it is stored in the form of glycogen in liver. Excess of glucose is stored as a glycogen. What is glycogen? Glycogen, it is the polymer of glucose. Okay, so when there is a fasting stage, so glucose level will go down during the fasting stage. In that case, certain organs, for example like a brain, RBC, renal medulla of kidney, okay, there are some organs which require the constant supply of glucose, or we can say that the glucose is the source of energy for this organ. So there are certain important organs in our body like a brain, RBC, renal medulla of kidney. This organ needs the constant supply of the glucose. Out of that, brain is the most important organs, because the brain is the source of energy for the brain is a glucose. Okay, or we can say that the highest amount of the glucose is utilized by the brain. So to maintain the constant blood glucose level, what will happen during the fasting stage? Glucose levels in the blood will go down. So to maintain the constant level of the glucose in the circulatory systems, first this glycogen breakdown will take place. I had just mentioned that what is glycogen? Glycogen, it is the polymer of glucose. So by breaking the glycogen, we will get the glucose. But what if after the glycogen storage will depleted? Because the glycogen storage, it will be depleted almost after 12 to 14 hours. So what if after 12 to 14 hours? Yeah, because these organs need constant supply of the glucose. In that case, the glucose will be synthesized by our body from a non-carbohydrate sources, and that is known as a gluconeogenesis. Alright. So what is gluconeogenesis? Synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. This process, it is actually the reverse of glycolysis. If you remember the glycolysis, what is happening in the glycolysis? Starting from the one glucose molecule, we will get the two molecule of pyruvate. When the process going in this direction, this is known as a glycolysis. And what is gluconeogenesis? If this process goes in reverse direction, that is from pyruvate to glucose in the opposite direction, then it is known as a gluconeogenesis. Alright, so starting from the glucose to pyruvate, that is a breakdown step, catabolic step, that is known as a glycolysis. And from pyruvate to glucose, that is synthesis, it is anabolic step, reverse of glycolysis, that is known as a gluconeogenesis. Alright, but this gluconeogenesis, it is not exactly the reverse of glycolysis. Why? Why it is not exactly reverse? If you remember the glycolysis process, there are the 3 steps which is irreversible. What is irreversible? Meaning of irreversible step is that the same enzyme cannot convert the product back into the reactant or the substrate. Same enzyme cannot convert. We need some another enzyme. So there are total 3 steps in the glycolysis process which is irreversible step. So for this gluconeogenesis, some different enzymes are present which will bypass those irreversible steps. Enzymes are there which will bypass those irreversible steps, help in the process of synthesis of glucose through gluconeogenesis. Alright, so let's start the process of gluconeogenesis. So before that, first let us see all the steps of glycolysis. Glycolysis, starting from the 1 glucose molecules, glucose will convert to glucose 6-phosphate, then fructose 6-phosphate, fructose 1,6-bis-phosphate, then glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, dihydroxyacetone phosphate, and then this glyceraldehyde 1,3-bis-phosphoglycerate, 3-phosphoglycerate, 2-phosphoglycerate, phosphoenol pyruvate, and then finally we will get pyruvate. Okay, so this is the step of glycolysis. Here this step, the conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, this is irreversible. Conversion of fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-bis-phosphate, this is also irreversible. And this final, the conversion of phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate, this is also irreversible step. Okay, so total 3 irreversible steps, rest of the steps are reversible. Okay, all the steps are reversible step. Okay, so different enzymes are required for these 3 steps which will bypass the process. Alright, so that is gluconeogenesis. What if you again remember what is happen after the this process, pyruvate, this process takes place in the cytoplasm of the cells. After that, pyruvate will enter into mitochondria, and pyruvate will then convert to acetyl CoA and then enter into Krebs cycle. So let's see, suppose we'll write this step here. Okay, so last step was phosphoenol pyruvate will convert to pyruvate, then pyruvate will enter into mitochondria, and here then it will convert to acetyl CoA and then enter into TCA cycle or Krebs cycle. Okay, TCA cycle or Krebs cycle. So let's start the process. The first thing to reverse the process of glycolysis, the first thing what we need to do, we need to convert pyruvate to phosphoenol pyruvate. But as this step, original the enzyme was pyruvate kinase. Okay, this is irreversible step. So different enzymes are required. Actually the 2 enzymes are required which will help in the conversion of pyruvate to phosphoenol pyruvate. Right now the pyruvate is in the mitochondria. So the initial step will take place in the mitochondria, and then the rest of the step will take place in the cytoplasm. Therefore, we can say that the gluconeogenesis, it is a partially mitochondrial steps and majorly it is a cytoplasmic process. Alright, so first pyruvate suppose convert to acetyl CoA, then Krebs cycle, and one of the intermediate was here malate oxaloacetate. This is TCA cycle. Malate oxaloacetate, here alpha ketoglutarate. Will not, here we are not writing all the intermediates of TCA cycle. So the first pyruvate will convert to oxaloacetate. That is the first step of gluconeogenesis. Pyruvate will convert to oxaloacetate. How? Through the addition of one molecule of carbon dioxide. Okay, after addition of carbon dioxide here, CO2, pyruvate will convert to oxaloacetate. Enzyme involved here is pyruvate carboxylase. Pyruvate carboxylase that will add carbon dioxide and the pyruvate will convert to oxaloacetate. That is the first step. Okay, the intermediate which is required, or the substrate which will help in the conversion of pyruvate to oxaloacetate, actually you can remember like A, B, C. Means A is for ATP, B is for biotin, and C is for carbon dioxide. Okay, so conversion of pyruvate to oxaloacetate, it is dependent on ATP. It is a ATP dependent process, also dependent on biotin, and carbon dioxide will add here. So pyruvate will convert here to oxaloacetate. Enzyme is pyruvate carboxylase. Now this step, I had just mentioned that these steps will take place where? In the mitochondria. Alright, so oxaloacetate, it is impermeable to the mitochondrial membrane. That means oxaloacetate cannot cross the mitochondrial membrane. So to come out from the mitochondria, it will take the help of malate shuttle system. How? Oxaloacetate will first convert to malate in the presence of enzyme malate dehydrogenase. We'll write here in the bracket M. M is for mitochondrial. So malate dehydrogenase enzymes will convert oxaloacetate to malate. Then malate will come out of mitochondrial membrane. Yeah, malate will come out. Here again oxaloacetate, again it will regenerate, and the enzyme name is same, malate dehydrogenase, but here it is cytosolic. Alright, so with the help of malate shuttle systems, oxaloacetate will come out. Are you getting what is happening here? First pyruvate has converted to oxaloacetate by the addition of carbon dioxide, but oxaloacetate cannot come out, so it will take the help of malate shuttle systems. Oxaloacetate will convert to malate, enzyme is malate dehydrogenase. Malate will come out, and again the malate dehydrogenase, it will regenerate oxaloacetate. Then this oxaloacetate will then convert to phosphoenol pyruvate. Enzyme involved here is phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. As the name suggests, phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. Kinase means there must be the addition of phosphate group. So here the phosphate group, the source of phosphate group here is a GTP, not ATP. So one molecule of GTP will convert to GDP, and phosphate group will add here. So oxaloacetate will convert to phosphoenol pyruvate. Before that, carbon dioxide will be removed. The carbon dioxide which added here during the conversion of pyruvate to oxaloacetate, so that carbon dioxide will be removed. Okay, so there is a removal of carbon dioxide and addition of phosphate group with the help of GTP. And the enzyme phosphoenol pyruvate carboxy, carbon dioxide is removing, kinase means the addition of phosphate group. Alright, so actually the conversion of pyruvate to phosphoenol pyruvate, we are reversing this step, pyruvate to phosphoenol pyruvate. Actually it is a two-step reaction. First step takes place in the mitochondria, conversion of pyruvate to oxaloacetate, and the second step will take place in the cytoplasm, oxaloacetate will convert to phosphoenol pyruvate. Okay, so we had reached here till phosphoenol pyruvate. Then rest of the step till fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, all the steps are reversible. So we don't need to remember the name of enzymes because it will be the same enzymes as that of glycolysis. Okay, same enzymes are there. So this process, all the process, 2-phosphoglycerate, then we'll get 3-phosphoglycerate, 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Now the second irreversible step will come, that is here. Originally the fructose 6-phosphate has converted to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate in the presence of enzyme phosphofructokinase 1. This is irreversible step. Kinase, phosphofructokinase means there was the addition of phosphate group. So if we want to reverse that step, we'll remove the phosphate group. And the enzymes which helps in the removal of phosphate group, it is a phosphatase. Easy to remember. Okay, in the glycolysis what is happening? Kinase means addition of phosphate group is there, will remove the phosphate group because see, fructose 6-phosphate from fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Therefore, the phosphate group at the first position has been removed here. So enzyme is fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase. Phosphatase. Okay. Substrate is fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So from that we are removing the phosphate group. So enzyme name is fructose 1,6-bisphosphatase. Phosphatase means the removal of the phosphate group. Now we are getting fructose 6-phosphate. Again the reversible step will come. Fructose 6-phosphate will convert to glucose 6-phosphate. That is just a isomerization reaction. And now the last step will come where in the glycolysis what is happening, glucose has converted to glucose 6-phosphate in the presence of enzyme hexokinase. Again the kinase means from here in the glucose molecules one phosphate group has been adding over there. So we will remove that phosphate group. So the removal enzymes which will remove the phosphate group, it is a phosphatase. So the name is glucose 6-phosphatase. Okay, glucose 6-phosphatase. Okay, and finally we will get glucose. So that is how the glucose will be synthesized by the body. The process is actually the reverse of the glycolysis except at the 3 steps. Okay, are you getting? From pyruvate to phosphoenol pyruvate, fructose 1,6-bisphosphate to fructose 6-phosphate, and the last is glucose 6-phosphate to glucose. This step different enzymes are there and the rest of the steps will be same as that of glycolysis. That is how glucose will be generated, and this is all about the gluconeogenesis. But from where we will get the substrate? Okay, from where? Because see, glycolysis is happening. So glycolysis, pyruvate then enter into Krebs cycle and continuous the catabolic process will be there, because see, you can see that the pyruvate will then enter into Krebs cycle. So from where we will get the substrate? Okay, so substrate for gluconeogenesis, this is glycerol, lactate, then some glucogenic amino acid. So how we will get that substrate? During the fasting stage, okay, in the muscles, pyruvate has converted to lactate. during the strenuous, if you remember the what is happening during the strenuous exercise, pyruvate has converted to lactate. So those lactate will then travel from muscle cells into blood circulation and from blood to liver cells. Yeah, we had already discussed that gluconeogenesis, it takes place in the livers, that is liver cells are known as a hepatocytes. Okay, so from muscles lactate will come to circulatory systems and from circulatory systems into liver. Okay, suppose this is structure of liver, here is the circulatory system, and this is muscle cells. So what has happened? First the glucose will convert to pyruvate, and this is what? Muscle cell, and pyruvate will convert to lactate. This lactate will then enter into circulatory systems. From circulatory systems it will enter into liver, and here in the liver again it will convert to pyruvate, and from pyruvate we will get the glucose. Pyruvate to glucose, that is gluconeogenesis. So this pyruvate will synthesize from lactate in the presence of enzyme lactate dehydrogenase, that is the first substrate of gluconeogenesis. And this cycle again, from liver the glucose will enter into the muscle cells. So this cycle will continue. This is known as a Cori cycle. Okay, glucose convert to pyruvate and then lactate. Lactate will come in the liver. Again the reverse step will take place, lactate to pyruvate, pyruvate to glucose. So this cycle is known as a Cori cycle. So through Cori cycle we will get lactate in the hepatocytes, convert to pyruvate, and then gluconeogenesis. First lactate. Second, glycerol. Glycerol, adipose tissue. What is there in the adipose tissue? Fat cells. Okay, fat cell, they are made up of triglycerides. So during the prolonged fastings, this triglyceride will break down into glycerol and fatty acid. Okay, glycerol and fatty acid. This glycerol then from the adipose tissue or the fat cell, it will again enter into circulatory systems. In the circulatory systems, then to liver cells, and in the liver cell it will reach here, this glycerol. So glycerol will convert to dihydroxy acetone phosphate. Okay, dihydroxy acetone phosphate, and then the reverse step will take place. So first substrate, one of the substrate is lactate from the muscle cells, glycerols from the adipose tissue. Okay, then after the prolonged fasting, the proteolysis means protein breakdown will take place, and some of the amino acid, that is glucogenic amino acid, that will help in the synthesis of intermediates of Krebs cycle. For example, like glutamate. So from glutamate we will get alpha ketoglutarate, and alpha ketoglutarate then convert to oxaloacetate, and then the same step will take place. Succinyl CoA, so propionate will convert to succinyl CoA, and the same step will take place. Again, one more thing is alanine. Alanine will directly convert to pyruvate, and then the synthesis of glucose will take place. So that is also the substrate for gluconeogenesis. Lactate, glycerol, gluconeogenic amino acid, this propionate. So these are the substrate of gluconeogenesis. So that is how the synthesis of glucose will take place during the prolonged fasting from non-carbohydrate sources. Alright, so this is all about the gluconeogenesis and its substrate. In the next class, we will see the regulation of gluconeogenesis. As we had already discussed that the glucose to pyruvate, that is glycolysis, and from pyruvate to glucose it is gluconeogenesis. So when on and off, there should be some on and off, no? Like sometimes the glycolysis will take place and when not required to gluconeogenesis. So what is the regulation? Where is the signal that will help in the on and off of this two cycle? So that we will see in the next class. Okay. Thank you. I hope you have liked the video. If you have liked it, so please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.